The 2023 Africa Energy Indaba did not just attract leaders just from the African continent, but others as well from outside of Africa are also here to form part of proceedings as we inch to solutions towards the energy crisis that have grabbed most of the countries right here in Africa. But I'm going to bring in the Czech Republic. They're here. David Vaverka is our guest this afternoon, just letting us in on their role here. It's been a busy 2 days, and we've been seeing those solutions coming through from role players here. As Czech Republic, you're here. Maybe let us in on your role here at this Energy Indaba.
Well, thank you very much for having me in the first place. Our role is basically to facilitate and help investments to come to South Africa. So role as an economic and commercial section, we focus on investment and trade facilitation to South Africa, helping our and South African companies to basically meet and do something together that's mutually beneficial.
What have been your overall impressions so far in the 2 days? Various issues coming under the spotlight. Many role players are just in here trying to inch towards the solutions. What has been your impression of the past 2 days?
Look, we're very happy with what we hear, and we're here with a company that is potentially a very large investor in the renewable sector in South Africa. And not only what we hear here, but what we've been observing for the last couple of months, the trajectory that South Africa is going is very, very positive. And you can see, the amount of interested companies here. Everyone is interested in South Africa. The whole of the international community is basically here. So that's very positive what we see. And we like to see the trajectory where it's going. Yeah.
Let's draw a comparison, David, to what's happening in Europe, to what's happening right here in Africa. We know that Africa is just struggling a bit to put the lights on. What is the situation in Europe as we speak right now around the issue of energy?
Look, I think that everyone is familiar with that we also have a crisis in Europe in terms of the current raging war in Ukraine. So there have been also shortages on our side. The situation is I think, very well managed, but we see it in the prices. I think it weighs very heavy on our households. So it's not a sunshine and daisies in the Czech Republic. We're also very heavily coal reliant. So those are the commonalities with South Africa. I would say about 50% of our energy mix comes from coal. So that's something that we share with South Africa is the transition. So that's another aspect that we come here to share, because we're still also undergoing the transition. And I think that's a very common topic for the Czech Republic and South Africa. Yeah.
Have you been worried, over your investments into South Africa, looking at the energy crisis that has been playing out? You're saying that basically you're with one company here that is set to offer solutions here. But really, when you look at the investment drive and most of the happenings and issues that have been coming out of South Africa and Africa, would you say that really at this point in time, you're concerned about your investments into the African continent and South Africa?
Look, I wouldn't say we're concerned. The situation, let's face it, is not ideal with your stage 6 load sheddings and higher, but it is somewhat managed and manageable. It costs extra, which the companies didn't really account for in the first place. But generally speaking, I think the incoming investments are looking through this. This is not going to be in South Africa forever. The situation is now addressed quite dynamically. It will be difficult to find a quick fix in this year or next year, but I'm very positive that as of next year, we're going to start sort of feeling the impact of what is being done and implemented now, and the investments sort of have to look past this sort of a hurdle. South Africa is most certainly, in that sense, the place to be still.
Awesome. David Vaverka, thank you very much for your time coming through there from the Czech Republic, letting us in on their role here. You can just hear that at least they're also taking a role and playing a role in creating solutions, not just for South Africa, but for the African continent, looking at the fact that they have investments and interests in what is happening, and us getting it right would mean, the best then for companies that are here in South Africa and in Africa to flourish. Katlego, Legodi, SABC News, Cape Town.